This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by Liquid IV. The holidays can be a marathon of travel and family gatherings, so be sure to stay hydrated through it all with Liquid IV.
One stick of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone and gives you 8 vitamins and nutrients, plus 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, so you can stay hydrated for all the road trips, get-togethers, and parties this holiday season.
So tear, pour, and live more and stay hydrated through the holidays with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code RAW at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code RAW at liquidiv.com. This episode of Going in Raw is also sponsored by Aura Frames. From big events to life's everyday moments, Aura Frames makes it easy to upload unlimited photos directly from your phone so your favorite memories are always within view.
Named the #1 digital photo frame by Wirecutter, Aura Frames can be preloaded and personalized to make a truly unforgettable gift this holiday season.
So save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames by using promo code RAW at checkout. That's AURA frames.com, promo code RAW. This deal is exclusive to listeners, so get yours now in time for the holidays. Terms and conditions apply. Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
Welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. On today's episode, we've got your rundown of AEW Winter is Coming, NXT, including a self-attack from Eddie Thorpe.
Was it a self-attack or a non-attack?
Oh, boy, yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. Did he fight club himself? Or did he pretend to fight club himself?
Did he do what Darby did on Dynamite, punch himself in the face?
Yeah, my goodness gracious. We're going to talk about all that and more. And the more, of course, is our news for the day, which is, and this might be a bit of a spoiler if you like the surprises. So we're going to say, and I made sure to, on the thumbnail of this and the title, we didn't put the name of this person. There's a silhouette. And I don't know, maybe you can figure out who it is. Maybe you can't. There's a bunch of people right now that are missing from WWE. So it could be any number of people who are going to come back. So what I would suggest, if you don't want this spoilered for your Saturday night's main event, potentially, maybe just skip ahead to the time code on YouTube, which I will ensure. I'll make sure to put up, because in this situation especially, it's got some spoiler potentialities in it.
Yeah.
So just there you go.
There you go. Consider that your spoiler warning.
If you're watching live, then I'll just do a big hand movement like, hey, come on back now. You can do the thing.
There you go.
There you go. Okay.
So are we ready for it?
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So it's been a certain superstar that's been out of action for more than a year due to a knee injury. That superstar, Charlotte Flair. And according to WrestleVotes, she may be nearing a return very, very soon. This is what WrestleVotes had to say. Quote, sources indicate that Charlotte Flair's return is imminent. The possibility of it happening as soon as this weekend on NBC. We are told creative was tasked earlier this week with structuring the presentation of her return.
Mm-hmm.
So her knee injury was pretty severe. I mean, it seemed like she tore like everything in there pretty much. ACL, I think MCL.
Yeah.
So not shocking that I know that she posted a lot of videos on social media of her rehabbing like basically immediately after surgery.
Yeah.
But given the nature of the injury, it's not shocking. It's taken her a while to come back. But she's going to be a very welcome addition to whether it's the Raw or Women's SmackDown division. She's a 14-time main roster world champion. I think 16 if you include her NXT title reigns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Which sometimes they do and sometimes they don't.
Yeah, it all depends on what side of the bed they're waking up on. I think Triple H will probably, because it has been a long time. Under Triple H, I would imagine that would probably be a bit more set in stone, and they'll probably make a big deal about her getting number 17, I guess, if that's going to be...
If they include NXT as far as her total title reigns,
yeah. WrestleVotes also has a pretty good track record. I'm pretty sure that, because they'll usually... It's interesting because, like, lately I've noticed with WrestleVotes, they've been breaking, like, really sort of pedestrian level stuff. Like, hey, WWE's bringing back, I think they were like one of the first to be, hey, WWE's bringing back Saturday night's main event. Okay, cool, right on. It's more like kind of like PR that gets out in advance. And so this seems to be a bit of a bone that he's being thrown by WWE PR, I think. Maybe just to drum up a little bit more interest or gauge I'm kind of curious. WWE, they're working the sheets, these days. And I think it's for a very specific thing. I think it's basically focus grouping. That's my guess. That's my speculation. And so, maybe in terms of like, hey, what approach should we take with Charlotte? We'll get one small gauge, see how people respond to this news getting out there on the internet wrestling community. That's a possibility. I don't know. I would imagine though that this is probably going to happen on Saturday, and yeah, like you said, a welcome return because it mixes things up quite a bit. Charlotte's a pretty big deal, and I really just want to see. I mean, dude, last time we saw her, she was SmackDown, right?
I believe so. But given what's going on, the dynamic in the SmackDown Women's division is already pretty loaded in terms of people contending for Nia's title. Whereas on Raw, it's pretty much just Rhea and Liv. So, Io's got the title shot, obviously, on Saturday. So if they want to add an extra dimension to what's going on Raw, Charlotte makes a lot of sense. If you have Charlotte over on SmackDown, it makes the title picture on SmackDown, the depth of talent involved in that scene greater, but also, they have about 5 months to see how this all kind of settles into place heading into WrestleMania. And there's a lot of people seemingly that could step up to Nia between now and then. It just seems like it might be a lot creatively to try to work through. So maybe Charlotte going to Raw makes more sense in that respect.
You're absolutely right, especially if we get, because what's happening? We got Io versus Liv. We got Kevin Owens versus Cody. Yeah, I mean, I'll put it this way: if they're going to try to do the same thing they're doing on SmackDown, where there's a lot of great moving pieces there, and you apply that philosophy to Raw, I think that's probably a really good idea. I mean, I don't know where that lands her for WrestleMania necessarily. I mean, that's going to be one of the things, and we've talked about that here on the show, more specifically with Becky Lynch, but I think the same applies to Charlotte because they've both main evented WrestleMania. They've both been kind of the figurehead of the women's division at different times. And Charlotte, as we've already mentioned with her title runs, besides, breaking, if they want to consider Ric Flair's record, applicable to the women's division as well.
Yeah.
Besides that, she's done everything. And so let's see creative put some energy into how do you craft compelling stories with people who have done everything. And that was sort of the Becky thing. The last leg of her run, it was like, well, she's done everything and they can't seem to bring much creative energy to what do you do now with that? And, that's going to be the same thing with Charlotte. It's going to be the same thing in a couple of years with a lot of them a lot of the people in the women's division who have done, who've already kind of done everything. And you just hope that, hey, you know what? There's plenty of stories you can tell for a variety of people with a variety of accomplishments. So just go ahead and do it. And find the creative energy to do it.
Some people here in chat are bringing up, given how much Nia has been focusing on, Queen of the Ring, that maybe that's going to lead to a feud with Charlotte. Mm-hmm. Also, Andrade, who is married to Charlotte's on SmackDown. We got this transfer window that's apparently open, so it's not impossible to see Andrade move to Raw if they decide that's where Charlotte's going to land. But
it's also not impossible to unload or to transfer some of the talent from SmackDown to Raw in the women's division, opening up, some possibilities for Charlotte to stay on SmackDown as well. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So they could accomplish the same thing doing that. On top of that, dude, I'll be completely honest with you. The idea of Charlotte getting in there with Nia Jax, them shooting on each other, things getting sloppy, things getting messy. Couple of shots landing a little too snug, maybe. I want to see that again.
That interests Steve.
Yeah.
That's of great interest to Steve.
It is, man. As I'm telling you, man. Charlotte is probably the one person in the women's division in history who just does what the fuck she wants to do, and I
She
respect
absolutely
it.
does.
I respect the shit out of
I
that.
mean, it was her and Rhea went over
Yeah.
their time in their Mania match by like a lot.
Apparently by a significant amount, because Charlotte was like, no, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna do what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And they put on a match of the year candidate. They
Oh, the
really
match was
did. That
fantastic,
WrestleMania
yeah.
match was amazing. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
it was really good.
Yeah.
It was really, really good. So yeah, maybe we'll see Charlotte on Saturday. It's gonna be interesting to see what they have in line for her creatively. We had a return on Dynamite last night. Pretty exciting one.
Yeah.
Toni Storm. She's back.
But not timeless Toni Storm, Larson.
Doesn't seem like it. So after Mariah May defeated Mina Shirakawa in a really good main event for the AEW Women's title, Tony's old theme hit. She walks out on the stage with her old packaging, with her old gimmick, and she's out there soaking in the cheers, getting emotional, it looked like.
Oh,
And Mariah's reaction was great, because it was like, what's going on here?
It's like, did I park here? Where did I park?
Yeah.
Was it over? Was it in the other garage? I forget now. And then
It was just
honestly,
confusion.
I saw some pushback on this, but I thought it was hilarious. Thunder Rosa being like the troll for Mariah May in the crowd during the Mina match.
Yeah.
And she had like a sign that said, I don't know, Mariah May, crap champion or something like that. And then on the other side, it says WTF. She was holding that up when Mariah got the win. And then when Toni came out, she was still holding it up. And she had a confused look on her face.
Well,
too.
it was like confusion and somewhat dejected, because she's trying to get a title shot.
Yeah.
I think the idea is like, oh, Tony's back. That might not happen.
What approach should Toni Storm, who had such a wonderful character in the timeless Toni Storm gimmick, what can she? There's always been the thing, the one catch about her character, as entertaining as it was. What was it supposed to be? Was it supposed to be Tony's gone a little crazy and being inspired by, Turner Classic movies or whatever movies of old, being inspired by, the All About Eve stuff? What
do you think she's a time traveler?
No, look, I'm all in favor for time travelers in wrestling. Yeah. I'm all for that. But no, we saw the transformation to a degree. We saw her go from one iteration to another iteration.
Yeah, over several weeks. Yeah.
Right. Now that she has snapped back into this Toni Storm, what elements of timeless Toni Storm can she bring to it that'll square everything and kind of make it make sense?
Now that's the question. Like when Toni in WWE, in NXT, in NXT UK, apart from that little bit of time where she was a heel in NXT, I think, like there didn't seem to be a whole lot of dimension to her character apart from Motley Crue fan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why the timeless Toni Storm character works so well. Is like, oh, she went to this character that's just tons of dimension, tons of complexity. Really fascinating character with depth to it that she could explore in a variety of storylines. And I hope they found a way to bridge the character of old with the dimension of character that timeless Toni Storm had. Because if it's a situation where, she kind of she lost the title and she kind of spiraled, and in doing that became timeless Toni Storm because she couldn't handle the loss of the title. And now after losing the title to Mariah May, that betrayal leads to another transformation. I just don't think you can go from a character as beloved and as interesting as timeless Toni Storm and just go back to what she was doing, 8 years ago. There needs to be more to it, I feel like. And given how creative Toni is, I expect there to be.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because you're 1,000% right in that what she was doing before Timeless Toni was like, I'll put it this way. One reason I think Timeless Toni works so well is, number one, it really exposed her for being a wonderful performer. And it was crazy. and it was funny and it was entertaining and it was like, what is happening here? And everybody bought into it because it was so much fun. You could tell she was having fun. I never really got that from her before then. And I didn't actually, let me rephrase. I had only seen clips of her when she was in Japan, and it seemed like she was having tons of fun there. And I don't know why, but once she moved over to NXT UK and then NXT and main roster for that very brief period of time, it's like none of that was there. And it was like, I think people always, number one, awesome in the ring.
Fantastic.
And people wanted to buy into what she was doing, but there wasn't a whole lot to buy into besides, man, we really want to see Toni Storm do cool shit. Mm-hmm. And so when she gets to AEW, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, well, okay, where does she fit? Who is she? And she won the title and it was cool and everything. And then she ended up, losing it and became timeless. And it was like, oh, this is entertaining as hell. And so to revert back to what she was before would basically be kind of a non-character, to be honest with you. And so she's got to take some of that character that she had with Timeless Toni and bring it to the presentation of what she had in the past.
Or at the least have what she did with Timeless Toni Storm inform what she's going to do going forward. Whether it's, like crossover. The whole idea of her being Timeless Toni Storm was kind of a defense mechanism so that she didn't face the fact that she lost the title.
Yeah, right.
And maybe in the same regard, she lost the title. She went on a bit of an excursion, went to Mexico, went to Japan, as Timeless Toni Storm, wrestled a bunch. Not that long ago in an interview, she said that Timeless Toni Storm was retired. Mm-hmm. So I think at the time we talked about the possibility here of her coming back as her previous gimmick. And so maybe it's a situation likewise where this is another thing that another persona she's adopted. So she has to deal with the pain of being betrayed. Mm-hmm. She goes to being a more carefree character. Mm-hmm. Someone who likes Motley Crue, Mm-hmm. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see what she does. I'll be disappointed if she just sort of goes back to being herself, There's got to be something there. And I'll be honest with you, the expression on her face when she came back, it was emotional, but it also betrayed a bit of the timeless character as well. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I don't know. We'll see where she's at. I don't know, like when we're going to expect like a promo or whatever, but they got the Australia show coming up.
Well, she's got a match on Rampage this week, Steve.
Yeah, I had heard that. I didn't know if it was a match or if it was a promo or what.
It's a match against Harley Cameron, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, she'll probably get on the mic then too. I'm assuming it's already been taped.
Yeah, I think they taped it last night.
All right. Well, I guess we'll find out.
An interesting choice to have a return match on Rampage that not many people watch, but
well, it's the new thing, They had Jamie Hayter return in the pre-show at All In or whatever it was. I don't know why they do that.
Yeah, it was All In. Yeah.
I don't know why they do that, man. It's like, don't you want? I don't know. Anyways, before we continue talking about AEW Winter is coming, Larson, let's go ahead and talk about the sponsor for this week's episode.
Let's do it. This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by Liquid IV. The holiday season can be a real whirlwind. You get crazy at times, Steve, with all the travel and family gatherings that we usually do this time of year. And in the process, it's easy to forget to take care of yourself.
Yeah, man, that's exactly why I always keep Liquid IV on hand so I can stay hydrated no matter what the holiday season can bring. One stick of Liquid IV in 16 ounces of water hydrates you better than water alone and gives you 8 vitamins and nutrients plus 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink.
You just said season a little bit ago. Speaking of seasons, our never-ending basketball season is still in full swing, and Liquid IV is an essential part of our semi-weekly hoops contest. I honestly don't know how I could keep draining half-court shots in your face twice a week, and I'm serious about this. I'm going to dunk in 2025, and I need Liquid IV to help me get there.
All right, well, I think that's a good goal to have, man.
It's a great goal. I'm going to do it.
Okay. Like, are we talking like an 8-foot rim, like a 7-foot rim?
10-foot regulation.
All right. Like a trampoline involved. Some sort of trampoline? Okay.
Nope. The only sort of springs are be in my legs.
All right. Not going to happen. So tear, pour, and live more and stay hydrated through the holidays with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code RAW at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code RAW at liquidiv.com. I got it. You're going to use Flubber.
It's not real.
Yet.
And let's get a word from our sponsor, Aura Frames. You know, Steve, I take quite a few pictures on my phone, and yet those pictures just seem like they're stuck on the camera roll. And when I look through them to see them myself or share them with my family, I got to spend a bunch of time just scrolling through and searching for what I'm trying to find. It takes forever.
Yeah, your family's sitting there like, hurry up, Dad. Well, if you're looking for an easy way to share those pictures, Larson, check out Aura Frames. Aura makes it easy to upload unlimited photos directly from your phone so your favorite memories are always within view. Of course, I've got one over there on my dog's altar that I've set up since her passing. There's a silly picture of her right there you can see. And, of course, I've got one ready to go. All I got to do is start loading up all the pictures of me that I'm going to put on the one that I'm gifting my mom here for Christmas coming up pretty soon. Lots of great pictures of her son, none of her daughter. My sister, Monica, kick rocks. Get your own Aura frame for Mom. How about that business, Monica? Think you're so special because you make so much more money than I do in the financial sector? My goodness gracious. You need to get 2 of these Aura frames because you got so much money from the financial sector. Anyways, she can fill up, personalize, and preload an Aura frame for my mom, either filled with photos of life's huge milestones or pictures of fun everyday moments from the financial sector. She can do that for an unforgettable gift.
So save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver mat frames by using promo code RAW at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code RAW. This deal is exclusive to listeners, so get yours now in time for the holidays. Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, man. Thinks she's so better than me.
My goodness.
Oh, man. Anyways. Where are we at here? Talking about
let's
AEW?
talk about this on Dynamite. This happened.
We got the world title match set up, dude.
Yeah, so at World's End. So the show opened up with a tag match. It was Mox and Pac taking on Orange Cassidy, Jay White. Just as Orange Cassidy is about to hit Mox with an orange punch, maybe get the win, Hangman Adam Page comes out of nowhere and starts laying into Mox.
He was like me. He was like, I don't care about this tag match.
Yeah. And so that means that Orange, Hangman, Jay, they start beefing, trading shots. And it all ends with a couple orange punches. And then Jay hits Orange with the Blade Runner. The Death Riders get back in the ring and then start beating the heck out of all 3 of them. So after that, Mox is cutting a promo. And he's like, oh, AEW's all about ego. People here are too concerned about their own ego. Oh, I want title shot. You don't get title shot. And he says, none of this is about me. It's about my people. So he says, I'm going to give all 3 of you an early Christmas gift. 4-way title match at World's End. So that's going to be your main event at World's End. Mox, Hangman, Orange, Jay White.
It's not often that a champion will propose a match in which he doesn't have to get pinned or submitted in order to lose his title.
No champion advantage either.
Yeah, right. Now it is no DQ. So, maybe he's thinking I got the numbers advantage because essentially I can make this 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 4 or 3. We have 4 match. Maybe he's thinking that. But yeah, what do you think of Mox throwing down the gauntlet there for a fatal 4-way?
I guess as a storytelling device to show that Death Riders are a unified unit, whereas, as Excalibur was talking, Team AEW is more interested in their own personal ambitions than protecting the company. Again, it just puts a spotlight on the fact that so much of this Death Rider story, we're taking over AEW, the focus is so small. I know they're expanding it here for this particular pay-per-view cycle, but is that going to be the case afterwards as well? Is this still going to be pretty small in scope? Because all through the opening segment, they were talking about, Death Riders, Mox is trying to change AEW in his own image. I'm like, well, no, it's like he's feuding with 3 people. The whole faction is feuding with 3 people at this point. And if you want me to feel like Death Riders are trying to recreate AEW as they want to see it, again, you got to expand the scope of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the whole motivation of it is a bit nebulous, but like I'm trying to think of are they doing this to sort of eliminate 3 potential challengers in one fell swoop?
Yeah.
Because they want to push to the end.
Yeah.
I don't, you think so? I don't know, man. I don't know that like they're just going to so in other words, you're thinking that Revolution's going to be Darby.
Yeah, it could be. I don't feel like they're taking their time with this per se.
You don't think that Mox is going to have the title by the May? What's the May thing? Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing. I mean, I suppose it's a possibility, but this doesn't seem like a thing where it's carefully plotted out. And I don't even know if they have an endpoint for the story. I don't know. It just feels like so much of this they're kind of just getting through. And it could be a situation where, again, as a story beat, I like it, where you have a unified unit and a unit that's a mess, and Mox is going to exploit the fact that AEW outside of Death Riders is a mess in terms of cohesiveness, take advantage of that to win, beat 3 people, and be like, see, none of you are worthy of being champion because I beat all 3 of you because you couldn't get your shit together.
I do. I kind of feel like that's. I mean, I feel like the story would be more effective if it's like, who's going to be the guy to take down Mox, and then you get out of this match you've already had Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
So the next one you do Jay White, and it's like, yeah, we might all know that Jay White, but there's a way you can write it so that I'm led to believe, oh, it might be Jay White.
Yeah.
They might actually do this. There's definitely a way you can write it to be Hangman Adam Page, and you and I agree it should be Hangman Adam Page.
Should.
But given Darby's trajectory, it seems like this is designed to be him, which is a shame if that's the case. And look, if we're proven wrong, then great. I'll cop to it, and I'll be pleasantly surprised.
Same.
But it does feel like that's the direction they're going, heading back to. It's wild because they really don't even reference all that often, like the fact that Darby got suckered out of that title shot. Like that would have been, I don't know, because he had a title shot. Yeah. And Mox is like, put up the title shot. You know what I mean? Because he can't. And he's like, okay, sure. I'll just give you my title shot after, a match. That wasn't particularly competitive. No. So, yeah, dude, I don't know. It seems like instead of doing something that reverberates throughout the company, they are just telling one isolated story to get the title on Darby. And look, it's funny because like you and I even talked about, I don't even think they're taking the wrong approach necessarily with Darby right now. It just seems kind of obvious what they're doing, Like I like that he's just sort of now he's sort of kind of crazy. I mean, he's always been crazy, but without Sting there, he's more of a loose cannon, and I like that aspect of it. The fact that he lost to Claudio, he's probably going to... Don't they have like a Continental match coming up at some point, right? Don't they? Are they in the same thing? Darby and Claudio or no?
Yeah, it already happened, I think.
It wasn't the one where Claudio just straight up won, was it?
No, that was on paper. That was on Dynamite. I thought they
had. Did they have a second?
Already.
They had a Continental Classic match already?
I thought they had that one already. I could be wrong though. Let me check. I'll check on that.
Hey, that Darby Will Ospreay match is gonna be something else.
Yeah, that's gonna be
that's gonna be tons of fun. But I appreciate how they're handling Darby right now. It's just I kind of wish it wasn't so obvious, and I think they probably could have made it less obvious if they didn't just jam everybody into one match like this.
Yeah,
should be a fun match though.
Oh, it'll be fun, but yeah, I agree. It's a situation where this seems like, all right, there's 3 people that we can have as contenders for the title. Let's just all put them in the match. Mox beats them, and then we can move on, as opposed to, as you said, having one contender after another.
Yeah.
But, that's what they're going to do, so Then of course you always got the specter of Christian with his contract potentially
Yeah.
cashing in at some point. So during this tag match, he's watching with the rest of the patriarchy in a luxury suite. During the match, he sends the patriarchy away to do what? We don't know. Maybe he was hungry. But after we get the Mox promo backstage, Christian from the luxury suite cuts a promo talking about the four-way at World's End. He says he has a problem with everybody in the match. And he says, but his number one problem is with Mox because you have what I want. If you happen to make it out of World's End, I'll be waiting on the other side. And this time I won't miss. I'll send you back to rock bottom. Listen to that voice, John. Have that drink. I'll send you back to rehab. While I'm forced to rehab the world title. So he starts to leave, turns around, says, before I go, and then turns back around and sees Hook, who's standing at the door of the luxury suite because there's a glass window in there.
Yeah.
So Hook breaks the window, punches through it because he's got a cast on his arm, starts beating the hell out of Christian, puts him in the red room, tries to throw him off the balcony to the lower lower deck of the stands, but then Christian escapes. Hook then shoves him into the food spread they had in the luxury suite. Eventually, the patriarchy make it up, but Hook just kind of fends them off and runs out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, silly stuff right there, but it was relatively entertaining. Who did Brody took on Ricochet last night?
Yeah,
and then Ricochet won. Okay, cool. So this is updated here. I'm looking at the brackets right, or the standings. Let's just the standings right now. What was it? What was the blue? Was there a blue match last night?
Yeah, it was. There
wasn't a blue match last night.
Ospreay.
Ospreay's in the gold. There was two gold last night.
Gotcha.
So that was Ospreay versus Claudio.
So maybe it was Claudio.
So no, Darby and Claudio have not had a match
all right,
yet.
Because Darby, that's right. Darby lost to Brody King.
It was Commander and Brody King, and then Claudio has had Ricochet, Brody, and Ospreay.
There we go.
So yeah. All right. So let's talk about that now that I have them up here. The Continental Classic. Let's see if we can figure this one out. What do you think? Hey, let me ask you this.
Sure.
Who comes out of the right now as it stands? Fletcher's got 9.
Yeah.
And we got 3 6s in the Gold League.
Well, so give me the top. Who has the 2 highest scores in the Blue League? Is
All
Fletcher
right.
and
the Blue League? We've got Fletcher with 9. We've got Okada and Garcia both with 4.
That's right, because they had a time limit draw.
Right.
So I'm guessing. So the way so the winner of the Blue League faces second place in Gold League, and then vice versa. That's your semifinals. So I'm guessing Fletcher wins the Blue League.
Mm-hmm.
He faces Ospreay, who'll finish second in the Gold League.
Mm-hmm.
That's one semifinal. Okada will be second in the Blue League. And then as far as first in the Gold, there's Claudio.
You think Ospreay's going to finish second in the Gold League? What do you think the final's going to be?
I mean, I guess they could do Ospreay and Fletcher in the finals.
Okay, the final is for the title, right?
Yeah, it's for the Continental.
So if Okada loses in the semi, that title's not his anymore.
Yeah, so which leads me to believe. I was thinking that the finals would probably be Okada and Ospreay.
Who do you think wins the entire thing? Because you're right, we get our cake and eat it too there.
Yeah,
we get
Ospreay
versus Fletcher
in the semis, then Ospreay wins that one, eliminates Fletcher. Maybe the Fletcher goes undefeated in the round robin action. Ospreay keeps him out of the finals. I was trying to think. Maybe they'll do Claudio winning the Gold League. Or Darby.
You know, if there is any justice in the world, it'd be Brody King.
Yeah.
I'm so bummed that he lost to Ricochet last night. Fucking bummed.
I know you are.
Bummed, dude. Bro, honestly, like, they need to do this. At this point, dude, just have Brody kill Malachi. Just have him be like, hey, you know what? I'm tired of this shit where you're acting like you're retiring, and then you go on social media and you say, why is everybody, just stop gaslighting everybody, you know? And then he just fucking takes his head off, man. Brody King is so badass, and they had him lose to Ricochet?
Yeah.
What? Huh? What is that shit, man?
I don't know.
Make it make sense, Larson.
They're pushing Ricochet. That's the rationale.
I mean, lose to Claudio, that's, I guess, fine. Claudio's a big strapping dude who's got a bunch of post notes on his shirt.
Yeah, he does.
But man,
speaking of Claudio, he took on Ospreay. It's a good match, really good match, in fact.
Yeah, it was
really
awesome.
Ospreay gets the win after Claudio's looking for a neutralizer. Ospreay rolls him up, gets the W, and then right afterwards, Claudio hits him with the clothesline, hits him with the neutralizer, grabs a chair from ringside. Darby runs out with the baseball bat, chases off Claudio. You know what they could have done is use a Claudio Ospreay match like this to bring Ospreay into the Death Riders story, but they're not going to do that.
Yeah, probably not. I know. That's the kind of thing. Like, you think that you got this Continental Classic, maybe you put Pac in this thing too, and you just start weaving all sorts of people into the Death Rider thing.
That's what I'm thinking. They didn't do that though.
And then here's the thing: you have like, Death Riders now. They've made enemies of like 6 top names. Who of those 6 top names would turn and join the Death Riders? You know, maybe a Garcia does or something like that.
Exactly.
You know, you got to do that NWO shit, man. If you're going to do NWO. Also, by the way, this is small and really stupid because it's like 2024, not 1998. The Death Riders logo is pretty decent.
Oh,
Their packaging, the music, fucking have them all wear shirts.
You know, I wonder, I don't disagree with you, but I wonder if the idea is like, we're supposed to like, we're supposed to hate the Death Riders. And, you know, that's the old, like when Punk turned heel, he was like, I don't want to sell merch.
Yeah.
Because I'm a bad guy. People should boo me, not buy my shirts. And then the story was that yellow one, he's like, all right, design the ugliest shirt and go ahead, put that up. No one will buy it anyways. And people bought it.
It's wrestling. We want
cool
shirts.
That's the philosophy.
You could be, look, you could be right. And probably Mox overthinking shit. No, we don't wear merch. We're just going to wear blank white shirts. It's boring. I want the theatrics, goddammit. I want the cool shirts with the cool logos and stuff. Fuck. Like, it's wrestling. You just look so much cooler if you're wearing a shirt with a fucking wrestling logo on it. Goddamn, look at the Hurt Business back in the day. They had those cool, like, if anybody shouldn't have been wearing merch shirts, which is like the most wrestling fan thing you could do, it's the Hurt Business. Because they're all, Dapper Dan mans. They're all wearing the nice suits. But no, their shirts had gold on them.
Oh, it was great.
Gold,
Their shirts were great.
Gold. Yeah.
Great.
Hey, how do you like that Jerry the Vampire on What We Do in the Shadows? We got to the Jerry. It was the first episode of the season.
Yeah.
That shit was hilarious. Anyways. Yeah, so you're thinking it's going to be Okada versus Ospreay in the finals there?
Yeah.
Okada wins, right?
Probably.
So he can be the best
tournament wrestler. Yeah.
And Ospreay, the next title, let me ask you this. Ospreay's next title is going to be the world title.
Be the world title.
Right? Yeah. No shame in losing to Okada.
Nope. So right after the Claudio Ospreay match, we get an interview with Ricochet. And he's asked about his match with Brody.
Oh, my God.
And he says, this is why I came to AEW, for the competition. Nothing brings competition like AEW. Tonight I get Brody King for the first time ever.
I'm sorry. Hold that right there, okay? The director's going to stop. Cut. You don't sound fake enough. You need to sound more fake. You need to act like you're arrogant really poorly.
Oh, man. All right. So I'll pick up from here. He's bad. He's scared. I can't do it. But you know one thing he's not? He's not Ricochet. We both might be 1-1, but tonight he takes out MVP's card, looks at it, says, Tonight, I'm the one holding all the cards. Ha ha!
Oh, that was so bad, dude. It was so bad. Look, and I'm culprit number 1. I was saying Ricochet needs to act more arrogant. Stop. No, don't do what I said, because that was terrible. that was
Well, look,
horrible.
now he has heat with you.
That was horrible. It was fucking terrible. The match was a lot of fun.
Yeah, the match was fun.
I disagree wholly with the outcome. Brody King should squash the bug. Ha-ha! What was that laugh at the end? Oh, don't ever do that again. I never want to hear that sound out of his mouth again. Or any sound. He should just be like, quiet. Oh, dude, this is what they do.
Wow.
Brody King, upset that he lost to the bug.
He's going to crush his windpipe or something?
Yeah, you know how he does the thing where he like holds people over the ring? He just chokes the shit out of them like he did Darby that time. He gets mad, he goes backstage, he crushes Ricochet's
But then
thing.
Ricochet does try to do a promo, but like have to strain to talk.
No, you do the Shibata thing where he just types into the phone.
But that's Shibata's thing.
Well, it could be Ricochet's too. When's the last time you saw Shibata do it?
Oh, he's not on TV very often. But
No, he's not.
I get your point.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Or give him Stokely. That's what you should do. That would actually be kind of interesting because Ricochet could be like, hey, you want Ricochet in the Hurt Syndicate? You got to have Stokely too. And MVP and Stokely, their chemistry. Why aren't I not booking this stuff? Why does Steve not have a job with AEW, man? Are you kidding me?
You should be the showrunner next year.
Oh, tell me about it.
So after that interview, we have an update of the standings, recap of action from Collision. We get a Darby interview with Shivani. So Tony asks him about, hey, your efforts to topple Mox. They've failed so far. Have they failed? And are you losing confidence? Darby says the quest is never over. Death Riders are chipping away at everything that makes AEW. I watched Mox end Brian's career. He says, I get why the young guys don't want to get involved. They're worried about their paychecks. It's the first paycheck, like good paycheck they've gotten for a lot of them, like reliable paychecks.
Yeah.
But if they don't do anything about it, it's going to keep happening. People think I'm impulsive, and this is when he starts punching himself in the face.
Yeah, that was crazy.
He says, that doesn't bother me. Violence doesn't bother me. What bothers me is when no one does anything about it. When I think of the Continental Classic, it's everything that's right about AEW. I need to win this tournament because I feel like it represents the passion of AEW. Mox thinks everything is so wrong and AEW needs to be saved, but this is the company that gave him a second shot. He keeps telling these lies again and again, but nothing fools you better than the lies you tell yourself, John.
I feel like him punching himself in the face till he bleeds was a bit wasted on. Was Shivani doing the interview here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Shivani, right? Shivani kind of no-sold it. He was like, okay, well, what do you think about Mox? I'm like, he just punched himself in the mouth so hard
compared
he bled.
to a lot of the other shit Darby has done, punching himself in the face till he bleeds is pretty mundane.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. It's like par for the course for him. Huh?
Yeah.
So Shivani's just like, okay, whatever.
Like, all right, that's what I expected of you,
Yeah.
So then the main event in Continental Classic action, we had Ricochet versus Brody King. A really good match.
Well, yeah, except for the outcome, of course.
Ricochet wins after hitting Brody, after dropping him on the exposed turnbuckle, hits a pair of spirit guns to get the win. Hey, what if Ricochet wins? No, that wouldn't work.
Go ahead. What were you going to say? What
what
asinine thing was going to follow? What if Ricochet wins?
Ricochet and Ospreay are in the same league, so they're both in Gold League. Wouldn't matter.
Oh, man.
I'll say if they do Ricochet Ospreay in the finals, but they're in the same side of the bracket, so nope. Unless, it's possible. Ospreay finished second, Ricochet finishes first in Gold League, and they win their respective semifinal matches, and then it's an all Gold League final, Ricochet and Ospreay.
It is. It is Matt. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's total. Let's see. So Ricochet would have to beat Darby. How many points do you think Darby's going to finish with?
Probably not enough, considering he's going to be the next champion.
He's got the possibility of getting 12 points now if he goes if he beats everybody. Darby does.
So he have to beat Ospreay and have to beat Ricochet.
There's nobody. Unless they did a Darby Claudio final, where it was they finished 1 and 2, and then they took out the blue league. I don't think that's gonna happen. I will say this. I appreciate about the Continental Classic, all the different permutations here, all the different things that they could do.
The ways the whole thing could play out. All right, let's talk about Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly battling for a shot at the Dynamite Diamond Ring at World's End. So before the match, we had a SUV pull up at the arena. MJF gets out. So Cole makes his entrance first. Boom. So then Renee interviews Kyle O'Reilly backstage, but Taven and Bennett walk up pretty immediately, and they ask Kyle, why are you doing this?
Why are you doing this, man?
And Mike's like, hey, Taven, this match is happening. Kyle, you're still family after this, right? And Kyle says, well, you should have thought about that before one of our brothers got hurt. And he leaves. Match happens. Cole gets the win after... he rolls him up. Just catches a kick from Kyle and rolls him up.
There is a lot of counters here because the idea is they know each other
so well. They know each other very well.
Yeah, like Cole tries that whole fake out super kick thing and Kyle catches that. They keep on just catching each other's kicks and stuff.
I kind of wish I get that aspect of it. Maybe that should have been an aspect of it. I wish it was a situation where Adam Cole was so driven, so obsessed with getting this match against MJF that he was willing to do something messed up to Kyle O'Reilly to get there.
You know what, dude? That sense of urgency has been missing from Adam Cole. The idea that he's desperate to get his hands on MJF. It always seems to be semi-casual Cole.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's one thing that's been, and it's probably been missing because MJF has been doing a bunch of cinematic promos from home.
Yeah.
Letterboxed. And so, yeah, I don't know. There just hasn't been that. Everything, it's been like a lot of, like, I don't know, Cole's reluctant to fight his dudes or whatever.
Yeah.
So I get it. But I agree with you. Like, yeah, it'd be cool if there was that desperation. But also, it wouldn't really be true to the very origins of this feud. Like, this feud started off on shaky ground in the first, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This feud restarted on shaky ground because it was so weird before because the roles were reversed. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's strange. It's strange. So anyways, MJF did run down the ringside, try to cost Cole the match. Cole ends up super kicking him off the apron, eventually leads to the finish. So then after the match, Cole is talking shit to MJF as he's escaping through the crowd, and then Cole turns around to Kyle, offers his hand. At this point, Taven and Bennett are in the ring too, and Kyle just rolls out.
Sorry, I'm responding to Chirp Rogers. He decided to come into chat. He says my chops are weak. Oh, dude, I'm releasing that video this weekend. I got an idea for it.
Should leave a handprint on his chest.
That's what I asked him because I did. I saw it. I seen it with my own eyes, man.
There we go.
But yeah, I did get my water bottle back. I'm very happy about that. Before we continue on, now that Tripp has decided to interrupt our conversation, want to bring this up really quick. Larson.
What?
The Big Blue Predictions Challenge continues here at the Friendo Club. And guess what I got?
Oh, the hat's in, huh?
The hat is in. Shall I open it here live on air?
But of course.
While you tell the people how to get involved in the Big Blue, because we've got Saturday night's main event still to come, and we got Worlds End still to come.
We do. So to participate in the Big Blue Predictions Challenge, which happens every month, also to get bonus content, to get your questions read here on the show, all you got to do is sign up for the Friendo Club setups. 2 ways to do it. You can do it at patreon.com/Steven Larson, $5 tier, or at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Just become a member. Get the same rewards both places. So we got one event down already this month. Saturday night main event's coming up this weekend. The form is up right now for those who want to participate. And then, of course, World's End at the end of the month. Let's see it. Come on.
Look at this guy. Oh, Larson. Look at that guy. This could you, and here's the thing, Larson, I'm pulling for you. I've just come to realize I'm 17 points behind like the leader or something like that. It's horrible. My lot is awful in this.
The most disingenuous thing I've ever heard.
Well, that much is true. No, I mean, me being down so much is true. But what is true also is I want this hat on your head. All right. I want this to be right there on your head. And then be very special. Be a very special moment for you to put this on your head. Look at this thing. It's
You're
beautiful.
jinxing this whole thing. I hope you realize this.
It's beautiful. No. I'm giving you my juice. I'm giving you my endorsement right now. It's like I'm running as a third-party candidate. I drop out. I'm endorsing.
You haven't
this
won
guy.
anything in any of these predictions. You haven't
I
won
know.
a thing.
Oh, I'm terrible at it. But that's why I'm like running like a 2%er in this election. I'm dropping out. I'm trying to give my 2% to you, man. Look at that. I want this to be on your big head.
I don't like this at all.
Right there.
I don't like it.
Just I could see it right there. Just put this
like
on your head.
Doesn't work. Doesn't work.
This is a
that
beautiful
way.
hat though, isn't it?
It's a great looking hat. Also, if you're watching here on the YouTube, if you could, YouTube likes engagement, hit that thumbs up button. Leave a comment. It goes a long way towards helping the videos and therefore the channel. So thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, man.
You want to get back into it?
Yeah, man. Let's get back into it. What were we talking
So
about?
Anna Jay, Mercedes had a face-to-face backstage. They have a match next week at Holiday Bash for the TBS title. Mercedes has a New Japan Strong title defense coming up soon. Mercedes says that she's proud of Anna, mentions Anna going to Japan. Says, but you're only 26 and just getting started. When I was 26, I was already a 5-time champion. You're going to learn there's a price to pay when you mess with Monet. So she turns to leave, and Anna's like, hold on. This was supposed to be a face-to-face, so you're staying here listening to what I got to say. She says, I'm aware I'm the underdog, but I keep proving people wrong, And when you make your first mistake, I'm going to capitalize, shock the world, become the next TBS champion.
Probably not going to happen, but Anna Jay's improved greatly in the ring, so
Yep.
It should be a fun match.
Then we had FTR calling out Death Riders. So Fight for the Fallen, I believe, is taking place in Asheville, North Carolina. Of course, Asheville was one of the cities that suffered a lot of damage because of Hurricane Helene.
Yeah.
And so Dax and Cash dropping a promo about that show because I believe it's the Fight for the Fallen raises money. Yeah, it's a charity show. They raise money for charities. So I assume it'll be charities to help, rebuilding Asheville and other cities affected by Hurricane Helene. So they're talking about that. And they say, for the first time, Dax says, for the first time, Dynamite will be on Max. And for the first time in 5 years, we're bringing wrestling back to our city. That means we need a huge match. So Death Riders, come talk to us on Collision this week.
I'm giving FTR Ball the pass this week because this is, a very good situation for that particular city because they got hit really hard. This
they did. They
pretty gnarly stuff. So good on Dax for it was, honestly, it was a good promo too. Like
it was.
It was a good promo.
So it seems like we're one step closer to knowing who Private Party's next challengers are going to be. So Private Party's backstage, and they welcome us to the vault. So what happens here stays in the vault. So then Leo, Rush, Action, Andretti step in, and they're like, hey, we want some of what you got in the vault. So they get offered glasses of wine. They're like, no, we don't want those. We want the tag titles. This brings in Layla and Top Flight. And they start saying, Leo, Action, you don't want enough matches to get a tag title shot. You don't deserve a title opportunity. So everybody just starts arguing. Then Isaiah Cassidy says, how about you two square off? Winner faces us for the tag titles.
Yeah, that'll all be fun stuff. It really should be a triple threat tag match because you know how much that shit would be. That would be so much fun. Yeah, what's the vault?
I think it's just, I think it's just what they called that segment, I guess. It was just them standing at a table with like a bottle of champagne on ice and a bottle of wine.
Yeah, right. They had some Prosecco with them.
Maybe it was. Yeah.
All right, that's the vault. Because like you didn't capitalize vault in the notes. So I didn't know if it was like a proper noun, like
it should be. It should be
like the place to be.
Maybe, yeah. Let's talk about Bandito being hella jacked now.
Yeah, he's really jacked, man. They gotta hire us to do their filmmaking though, because this is. Hey, have you ever seen? So this is a continuation from last week.
Yeah.
Where he's in like a studio backlot of like an old West town.
Old West town, yeah.
And there's some dudes there that are like because he's wanted. Because he's Bandito.
Wanted.
He's the most wanted. And he rides into town, and these dudes, like Biff Tannen, or Mad Dog Buford Tannen's gang.
Yeah. There you go.
They're like, hey, dude, we're coming after you. We're going to get the bounty on you. And then he's like, all right. So he feigns like he's going to let them take him in, but instead he does a bunch of crazy,
he gets a bunch of pro wrestling moves on him.
Luchador moves on him.
He does his finisher on one of the dudes.
But yeah, he does. But have you ever seen? And I don't know how exposed you've been to this genre of filmmaking. But have you ever seen?
You mean westerns?
No, just follow me here. Sometimes like karate schools or martial artists will make like basically highlight reels.
I know what you're talking about.
Of themselves, but they'll do them in like little, the cinematics where it's like, oh, there's a scenario and they do all sorts of moves.
Yeah.
This was like that, but not quite filmed as good. It had a really impressive backlot set, but even the color timing on it didn't really scream Western.
No, it didn't.
Like you got to warm that shit way down in order for it to be that. And this was a bit different from that. So I don't know. They get like a C- on the filmmaking aspect of it. Some of the way they filmed the choreography didn't really maximize what they were doing in there.
No, but I'm sure they had to like hide the crash pads and stuff. Cause you're not gonna be hitting German suplexes on people on dirt.
Well, are they serious about their craft or aren't they, Larson? Anyways, Matt Cardona, who, of course, you'd easily associate with Ring of Honor, talking about his Ring of Honor title match because he's got that against Chris Jericho because they're trying to get a TV deal. So I guess that's how they're approaching that. He had an interview. I love Matt Cardona, by the way. It's just when I think Ring of Honor, I don't think him versus Chris Jericho. He had an interview. He says, great to be back in AEW. He says, everybody was shocked when I returned here, but I wasn't. I'm always ready. It says that on my T-shirt.
And he showed it off.
And then, in fact, it did say that. He says, for the past 5 years, I've been busting my ass to reinvent myself, indie god, deathmatch king, in a final battle. The biggest opportunity in my career against Chris Jericho. But then he ended up challenging Brian Keith to a match on Rampage. And that brought us to the final segment that we have that we're going to discuss here on our Dynamite recap. Chris Jericho. Because he did another one of those New York Minute things.
I can't stand these.
They're so long, too.
I know. That's part of the problem.
Does he contractually have like a minimum amount of time he has to spend on TV on Dynamite every week?
Certainly feels that way, does it not?
He allows Brian Keith to talk a little bit, though, as he accepts the challenge for Rampage from Matt Cardona.
Yep.
I do like Matt Cardona, though. I think he's cool.
Yeah, I like Matt Cardona, too. He's not winning that title, though.
No, this is the most foregone conclusion thing. What else is going on that pay-per-view, man? Do you know?
No, I don't know.
Ring of Honor Final Battle 2024. I'm kind of curious here before we jump into our NXT speedrun. I mean, our review of NXT. 3 matches on that card. We've got Red Velvet.
Short night, then.
Red Velvet. It's going to be a 30-minute pay-per-view. Red Velvet versus Layla Hirsch for the Women's TV Championship.
Oh, that'll be really good.
Jericho versus Cardona and the Sons of Texas. Do you know who the Sons of Texas are?
That's Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara.
Sammy Guevara versus the Righteous.
All right.
We also had an NXT this week. Ratings came out. They did pretty well in the ratings. They were up.
Yeah.
15%. I wonder how it's going to do against
That's good.
Winter is Coming.
That's very good. So, of course, a lot of NXT was the fallout from Deadline, specifically the Iron Survivors and the tag title situation.
Yeah.
I really love this dynamic between Nathan Frazier and Axiom.
Isn't it? It's my favorite thing.
It's the best.
I love it.
And they're also like the best tag team.
Yeah. Yeah. No, dude, they're the ceiling in terms of them as a tag, at least on main. Oh my God.
Through the roof.
Through the roof. So high. Especially with the talent they got now in the tag division there.
Oh, yeah. So Julia comes out and opens the show with the promo. She says, I'm the Iron Survivor, which means I'm gonna do what I came to NXT to accomplish at New Year's Evil. I'm going to become champ. She's interrupted by Roxanne. Roxanne says, you won, but Sol Ruca was the MVP of the match. She says, well, and Rand almost pulled it off. Zarya and Stephanie didn't lose. They just ran out of time. You won, and once again proved why NXT has the best division in wrestling, but none of them are on my level. None of the women in the division are on my level. Oh, we've been here before, and the result will be the same as it was last year, me raising my title over you at New Year's Evil. The result will be the same if you even make it to LA. So Julie's like, all right, let's throw hands right now. So she throws the mic down. Cora Jade walks out. Says, I don't think you're going to make it to LA because of us, and you think Stephanie is going to rescue you. And then it ain't going to happen. There's no doubt about who did this. Camera cuts backstage. She's been laid out. Mm-hmm. So Julia punches Roxanne. Cora hits her with the kendo stick. Kalani Jordan comes out to make the save. Later on, Sarah's outside the trainer's room waiting on an update of Stephanie's condition. Julia and Kalani walk out of the trainer's area. Julia's angry. Kalani says Stephanie's banged up, but she'll be fine. And she's tired of Cora and Roxanne walking around like they run NXT. So in the main event, we got that tag match. And Cora gets the win here by pinning Kalani. And that's because Roxanne and Julia end up brawling up the ramp. Mm-hmm. After the match, Stephanie Vickers' music hits. She sneaks in the ring behind Cora, lays her out, picks up the kendo stick, breaks it over her leg. And then chases Cora through the crowd.
So we've got New Year's Evil on the horizon.
So we got the 2 title matches. We got Roxanne versus Julia, and then Trick versus Obafemi.
Right. You got to figure this is setting up Stephanie versus Cora.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, so. Yeah. What's Kalani?
Let me ask you a question before we get to the Trick Williams Obafemi segment.
Ooh.
So we got 2 title matches on not a pay-per-view. I believe it's just a regular episode of NXT.
But it's from LA. Isn't this the one from LA? I think they're doing it in LA. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a Tuesday night episode, so it's not a pay-per-view. Do you think there's a possibility we only get one title change on the show?
Julia's definitely beating Roxanne. You cannot do this a second time and then have her not win. She's winning.
Yeah.
My money would be on Obafemi going to main roster and Trick Williams sticking around.
Yeah.
That would be if I had $5 to bet on it. I wouldn't go above that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Trick, number one, they're not going to do 5 months of a lame duck Trick Williams in NXT. And he has to have the post-Mania big time call up. Trick's got to have, like, I think they're going to do the draft. I think they're going to do the draft. And if for no other reason to justify spotlighting people like they did Carmelo, even though I think they've done a disservice to Carmelo being the number one SmackDown draft pick. First round pick, whatever it was. I think he probably should be at an even more elevated spot right now. Probably should have had the U.S. title by now. But I think they're going to give Trick the Mello plus treatment. Not only is he going to be a first round pick, he's going to actually get a huge debut. And so I think that necessitates him, because I mean, one thing about Trick that, we've heard in terms of, and I agree with, is the level of challengers, his actual adversity that he's had to face as champion really hasn't been all that huge. And Oba, I mean, look, they need to do this as a multi-month feud.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they can extend this out 3 months so that Oba wins in the end. I don't think it's going to happen on match 1 though.
No,
on a Tuesday.
No, it doesn't seem like it. No. So Oba comes to the ring, talks about winning Iron Survivor, says, Trick, you and I haven't crossed paths yet, but we've been dominant in our respective divisions, but now I think it's time for us to figure out who the top guy is. So Trick comes out, but he's basically instantly interrupted by Eddie Thorpe, and Eddie Thorpe is blaming Oba for laying him out last week, costing him his spot in the Iron Survivor match, and then Oba takes that spot. He says, I'm not going to stand for it, and Oba tells him to shut his mouth. And says, did you actually see me attack you? And Eddie says, no, I got hit from behind. And I've never been hit with so much power. It had to be you. And Obata says, you're wasting my time. Turns his back on him.
And the next sequence is so awkward because Eddie is just standing there looking like an absolute asshole.
Yeah.
And he's just standing there while the adults talk.
Kind of felt that way.
It totally felt that way.
Yeah. So Oba says, you need to listen because everybody's been waiting for us to go head-to-head in L.A. The two top stars in NXT will collide. You and me haven't talked about... Sorry, Trick says... Sorry, that's what Trick says. You and me haven't really talked, but I'm glad that you're here. The legacy of a title run isn't defined by how long you hold it, but who you defeat while you carry it. So the Oba responds, the truth is the only reason that Trick is the number one guy is because I let you be the number one guy. The only reason there is a whoop that Trick era is because I allowed it. Whenever I was ready, I would take the NXT title easily. At New Year's Eve, we have a date with Destiny, and I swear that 2025 will be the end of your era. So Oba leaves, and then Eddie gets in Trick's face and is like, hey, you're the champion. You're not going to do anything about Oba attacking me. You're supposed to be a leader.
This was so cringy. This
really
was worse than Ricochet. This was worse than Ricochet.
Yeah, and he says, you're a manufactured sports entertainer. You went last 2 weeks in the Japanese dojos where I trained. And Trick tells Eddie, shut up. Sick of all the doubters. I got no problem whooping everybody's ass in that locker room, so I'll see you next week. Ava set it up. And then Trick punches Eddie and leaves.
Yeah.
And then to close the show, Eddie's in Ava's office, signing the contract. And Ava's like, I just want you to know, we're still looking into who attacked you. And Eddie goes, oh, you're looking at him. And Ava's all, what the hell? And he says, I got this title match and did have to go through 25 minutes to hell to get it. Closes the folio, hands it to Ava, and leaves.
Yeah. He's a really good wrestler, that Eddie Thorpe.
He's good. He's really good.
But this episode buried him for me anyways. It's going to look, and I've said, if Trick is going to get, take that next step in terms of his in-ring stuff, he's got to be in there with really good wrestlers. And Eddie Thorpe is a really good wrestler.
Yeah, he is.
So this is going to be a good match, and it's going to be really good for Trick. And I'm glad they're doing it. But yeah, Eddie looked like a fucking asshole here. He looked like an absolute asshole here. Every single thing he said, every step of the way, him standing there with that, sourpuss look on his face the whole time the grown-ups are talking, Oba just disrespecting the shit out of him and Eddie doing nothing about it. Nope. And then whining to Trick. Yeah, it was pretty rough. It's not the direction I would have gone with Eddie Thorpe. But and then I'm so confused about did he did he throw a bunch of things and then lay down? It was like, help. Is that what happened? Is that what he did?
Or did he do the Darby thing and punch himself in the face a couple times?
Yeah. Again, can we look at the footage here? There's got to be footage.
I don't know if there is the footage is them coming upon him being laid out.
Mm-hmm, right. Yeah. I mean, I guess in the end, he's right. He got his match without having to go through.
His ploy worked.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. He wasn't the only asshole in this episode. We're going to talk a little bit later about another asshole in this episode. But first up, one of my favorites, Javon Evans, taking on Wesley, another great wrestler. Dude, just so much fun shit here. Javon Evans gets the win with a corkscrew splash. Mm-hmm. And but just really terrific stuff. I could watch these two wrestle all day long.
Oh, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Good win for Javon. I wonder if Wesley is going to be headed to main roster here soon.
I hope so. I really hope so. What would be a good first main roster feud for Wesley? Where do you put him? Feels like a SmackDown guy.
Yeah, he does seem like a SmackDown guy.
I don't know why. Feels like a SmackDown guy.
I mean, him feuding with Carmelo, those matches would be outstanding.
Him and Andrade? Ooh.
Yeah.
Him and who else is there? Who else is that? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So then at one point, we're in the men's locker room, and they're showing Ethan Page's promo he did, his social media promo.
Sad Ethan Page.
What's that?
Sad Ethan Page.
Sad Ethan Page. Crisis of confidence, Ethan Page.
Yeah.
He dropped after Deadline. So then we're in the men's locker room. They're watching that. So Tony D'Angelo walks in with the rest of the family and is like, hey, Ethan, he's just sitting there on the couch all bummed out. Get over it.
He's sulking. He's got the Eeyore thing. He's like, hey, get over it. And Paige is like, man, I don't know how to get back to the NXT title picture. And he's like cutting this promo while sitting down. And I'm like, boy, that's a choice. He's like, you know what? I got a bit of a soft spot for you, Ethan. So I'm going to offer you a North American title shot tonight. Paige is like, man, I was the NXT champion. While I was champion, I carried this brand on my back. Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, so the North American Championship is a step down for me. And Tony's like, okay, I got a soft spot for you. Wow, I'm just going to open this up to everybody in the room. And everybody is like, I want one, like day traders. Like, I want one. And then Ethan Page springs up from his sorrow. And he says, no, come on, I want it. I need this, Tony, please. He's like, all right. He's like, if I can't beat you, my career's pretty much over. Well, I guess his career's over because
the retirement match because he lost.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
No interference either. Dismissed the ego's edge. Tony hits a spine buster to get the win.
Yeah. I have totally turned around on Tony D, though, man. I like Tony D. I think they've just added dimension to his character, and they've sort of de-emphasized whatever the fuck he's supposed to be. He doesn't really talk about the docs and stuff and collecting payments or whatever it is he does.
No, he does. So then later, Paige is in the parking lot. Cameraman interviews him, and Paige is like, oh, I'm better than this. I've been better than this. I've lost my way. I've said I'm all ego, but the reality is I don't think I am. I don't think I'm good enough to get the North American title. I don't know how to get back the NXT title. I'm just lost and ashamed.
Should they change his theme music from that voice that says ego and then it just says, oh no?
Sure, that's good.
I gotta have another match now. Oh my god, I'm gonna lose.
It says, oh no. I was just talking about him losing his confidence the whole time.
Yeah, I suck now. Oh man. This was cool. We had another return. Shotzi came back. So Fatal Influence were talking in their locker room about Gigi Dolan being back. Jasmine's like, we need to get rid of her because they got a long history. And then we see Gigi and Tatum walking backstage. Gigi's like, man, I'm worried about the numbers game tonight. Tatum's like, don't worry, I made a new friend. And so Izzy Dame steps up, tells Gigi, she's like, I want to run it back. And then Spears and friends walk in. Spears and friends. Tells Izzy, hey, back off. We don't need anything happen to Gigi before her match. So Gigi and Tatum leave. Spears tells Izzy Dame, you were impressive in your match last week. And Dame's like, yeah, I know how impressive I am. And so Jasmine and JC have a match against Gigi and Tatum. And this was fun stuff. In the end, Fallon, so Tatum goes up top while Jasmine Nix is distracting the ref. Fallon pushes Tatum off. JC hits a rolling elbow to get the win. So Fatal Influence, they start attacking Tatum Paxley. Gigi slides back in and make the save, but she can't overcome the numbers. Shotzi comes to the ring to make the save. And on her top, the top that she's wearing, on one side of it, she's got Gigi Dolan. On the other side of it, she's got the other one, Tatum Paxley. Mm-hmm. So they're going to be a group now. They fit perfectly.
They really do.
This is a hell of a faction here, man. This is cool stuff.
Yeah, it is cool. It is cool. Also cool, apparently Lexus King might be getting another Heritage Cup opportunity.
Seemingly.
So he's backstage. He's talking to Dempsey. He said, I've been doing some soul searching. I'm a man of integrity. My wrestling's top notch. I want another shot at the Heritage Cup. So Dempsey's like, I'll think about it. So King leaves. Rest of No Quarter Catch crew walks in, and Dempsey talks about how proud he is of them all for their performances. At Deadline, OTM steps in and starts talking crap to Heights and Bourne about losing the tag title match. And Ren's like, oh, but they were so close to winning. This brings in Jada Parker. And she says, well, if I hadn't ducked Lola's back fist, then you wouldn't have fallen to the win last week. So they all start arguing. Match is going to happen. And then later on backstage, this was the most random thing.
This is really random, yeah.
Lexus King is talking to Ryan Leaf.
Yeah.
He's like a commentator for the CW college football, I think.
Okay. Wasn't Ryan Leaf known as like the biggest bust in the history of the NFL?
Yeah. I think he was drafted second overall in like the 92 draft.
Yeah.
Coming out of Washington State. Didn't really amount to much as an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
So King says, I know your NFL career didn't work out, but look how you turned it around. Mentions, doing the commentary work. And then Leaf says, no, you're the inspiration. The fact that you've been doing everything that you're doing in public makes it more relatable. Can't see what happens next. So Dempsey walks up and says, you know what? I'll give you a Heritage Cup match in 2 weeks. But first, you got to get through one of my workouts. King's like, sure, no problem.
It's probably a pretty intense workout.
I think that's the idea.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I probably couldn't get through that. Our favorite tag team, Fraxium, now bending over backwards to be on the same page. And I appreciate this because they've been.
They're still not on the same page. They're just like going above and beyond to look out for the other one, but still the miscommunication happens.
But in this case, the intentions are all pure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Backstage, they're talking. Fraser's like, man, I'm in bad shape. Axiom's like, you were so close to winning at Deadline, man. It was so great to see. And Fraser's like, you know what? At least we still have the tag titles. He's like, nah. And it's all because of you, Axiom. And Axiom's like, no, I'm sorry, man. I'm so worried about you competing twice at Deadline, but you did it, man. And Fraser's like, nah, you carried us in the match. So anyways, they're going back and forth saying how great they are. And then Fraser's like, I got to make this right. And Axiom's like, I got to make this right. So they both like split to make things right. Later on, Axiom walks up to Fraser. Is like, hey, I talked to Ava. He was like, I felt so bad about what Oba did to you in that match, just showing up without anybody having time to prepare. He's like, I got myself a match against him. And he's like, what? And he's like, why would you do that? And he's like, well, I felt bad that you carried the load for me at Deadline, so I got us a tag title match next week. And he's like, what? He's like, when's your match against Oba? Next week. And he's like, oh, man. So now Axiom is going to have to go through what Nathan Fraser went through. It's a great little bit of booking right here.
It is.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And their chemistry is so good.
Oh, it is. And two of the best wrestlers on top of it all.
Yeah.
Backstage, Zarya and Sol Ruka are talking about how great the women's Iron Survivor match was. Lash and Chikara step up. There's a bunch of crap talk, and it seems like we're going to get a tag match between Lash, Chikara, Sol Ruka, and Zarya coming up very soon.
Yeah, certainly seems that way.
And then we had the progressive match flow with Josh Briggs and Inamura talking about the genesis of their tag team.
You know what I loved about this is that Briggs was like trying to put over that he's like, you know what, I love, because yeah, they're gonna be a tag team because he's like, you know what, I really feel this dude. They're tough, what they go through in Japan for their pro wrestling, the Noah stuff. It's just hard nosed, and he was like, I'm ready to have like a real tough guy for my tag partner. I really relate to this guy. He's like, sure. One of the things that stood out to me. He says, sure, there might be a bit of a language barrier between the two of us. Meanwhile, they keep on cutting to Inamura, who's got a flawless handle of the English language. Like he's using colloquialisms and phrases and shit. This guy, this dude's English is just fine. And then it shows like a clip of Briggs like doing the loud talking thing to him in the ring. I'm like, you don't need to do that, man. The dude talks English just fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just sort of made me laugh because Inamura's promo was like pretty extensive in this. They kept cutting back to him, and he was talking a lot in like perfect English.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just sort of made me laugh.
And then finally, we had a tag match. Hank and Tank taking on DuPont and Igwe. Hank and Tank get the win after hitting their finisher on DuPont. And then afterwards, they're looking for handshakes. DuPont's like, yeah, I'll shake your hands. And then Igwe just leaves the ring.
Yeah.
Wasn't having it.
That would have been you and me. I would have been Igwe in that situation. If we lost to Hank and Tank, you'd be like,
if we had lost to Hank and Tank, I'd probably be in your situation too. I'd be like, we lost to these guys?
Right?
No, that doesn't sit right with me.
We'd be two Igwes then, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man, that's funny. Anyways, let's go ahead and answer some questions here, dude.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's see here.
Black Sales here asks, what are the chances that Joe Hendry is part of the 2025 Rumble? High.
Oh, very high.
High chances.
John in Alistair voice says, who had a better non-verbal moment? Darby versus Miro or Ricky Starks in the strap match?
I feel like the Darby Sting moment, there was just so much to it.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So I would lean towards that one.
Blake Whitehouse says, when can we expect the 2024 Friendo Awards to come out?
Oh, we got to think about how we're going to do those.
Let's put our heads together sometime very soon because I meant to do it in November and we're like deep into the month. I have one idea that I want to run past you, but it's got to be in private.
Kyle here asks, where do you see Matt Cardona signing in 2025? I mean, he's made it pretty clear that he wants to go back to WWE, but it hasn't happened yet.
I would love to see that happen. I really would. There's a lot of, he's such a great personality.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that, but I don't know. I don't know where he's going to end up. Zach Steesh has a good question. What needs to be done or changed to make the MJF and Cole feud more interesting?
We talked about earlier, urgency.
Yeah, it needs urgency and I don't know, it just needs to end. I don't have any desire to see these guys feuding anymore. I really don't. Even
you just
like
want to be friends again, don't you?
I want them to not acknowledge each other anymore. They need to do a Collision Dynamite split. Send MJF to Collision. Cole can stay on Dynamite.
All right. Sebastian Garcia says, if you found yourself in the elevator with Tony Khan, what would be your quick one-sentence suggestion for AEW? That just sounds super awkward.
No, I got it. Let's see if I can do this in one sentence. It's going to be a run-on. Please, you got to start out with please. Please put Ricochet with Stokely. Sorry. Please put a mute Ricochet with Stokely joining the Hurt Syndicate and watch as hilarity ensues. Did it.
I thought you were going to be even broader. It's like, hey, Tony.
Yeah.
I'll be your showrunner.
Yeah. Hey, Tony, give me the book.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Chris Deaton here says, what's a dream match that might be possible in 2025?
The New Day versus FTR.
Interesting.
New Day's contracts are coming up. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure they're coming up.
I mean, I guess it's hypothetically possible, but
because it's not probable in any way, shape, or form. The New Day are 1,000% staying in WWE.
Yes.
I'm just saying contracts are up. I'm just thinking of anybody whose contract is up.
It's kind of unclear, but Aleister Black versus Gunther.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm sure they've wrestled in the past, but I don't think they've wrestled in WWE. So
the New Day versus the Lucha Brothers.
Yeah, that actually seems possible. Let's see here. Creamy Beef Tip says, are you more excited to see the Winged Eagle title this Saturday or to see Gunther stack Damian and Finn?
Oh, if he stacked him? I'll be honest. I think I'd prefer to see Finn stack Gunther and Damian.
Wow.
Yeah. If you listen to Finn, then you win. AJ Otani says, if you could pick a legend and current star to host Saturday night's main event, who would they be? Resurrecting anyone is allowed.
Resurrecting anyone?
Yeah.
I guess it'd be Sid.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then a current wrestler?
A current wrestler.
Sid and Seth Rollins.
That was weird, man. That was weird. That was like Gorilla Monsoon.
And
The Miz.
Oh, God.
Tell me that wouldn't be a killer pair.
Oh, no. Jesse Ventura and Karrion Kross.
Oh, man. Dude, did you see when Cross did the impression to it was Ventura, so awkward because Ventura was like, number one, I don't really, like, you could tell he was thinking this. I don't know who this guy is and why is he doing an impression of me?
Yeah.
But I love to see it. It was great. That was awesome. Yeah,
it was pretty great.
Yeah, that's amazing, actually. Jesse Ventura and Karrion Kross together. Oh, that'd be great.
Cruz here asks, what retro thing are you guys most looking forward to seeing on Saturday?
Winged Eagle title, baby.
I just want to hear that song in full.
You want to hear Obsession from beginning to end?
Yeah.
And Emotion?
Yeah.
My Obsession. Have you seen the video
I'm sure
of that?
I can pull it up on Spotify, but I want to hear it in the context of Saturday night's main event.
You should watch it on YouTube. It's a hilarious video. It's like a very 80s video, obviously.
Yeah. Nate Cruz here says, songs from the late 80s, early 90s you've been in the mood to listen to lately.
I'm sorry, repeat that?
Songs from the late 80s or early 90s you've been in the mood to listening to lately.
Who's asking?
Nate Cruz, because Nate says, I've had the Saturday night main event theme on loop lately.
Yeah, no, it's a really good one. My Obsession.
If you're talking early 90s, I made a Pearl Jam playlist on Spotify.
Ooh, I bet it's great.
It doesn't have a lot of the singles or the hits on it.
Yeah.
Mostly album cuts.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not burned out of listening to those yet.
Yeah, no, a lot of those are great. You know, like Even Flow. No, I'm good. Don't need to hear that again.
That alive.
Ever in my life.
Tired of hearing it.
Yeah. Garden? Sure. I'll listen to Garden.
You know, I never really was huge on Garden.
I know. I said that because of that. How about this? Mark Allman and Gene Pitney, Something's Gotten a Hold of My Heart.
Oh.
That's from 89.
There you go.
I'm looking at my giant playlist right here. Anything from the late 80s to early 90s. Foreigners, I Want to Know What Love Is.
That's more mid-80s, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah. All right, let me adjust. David Bowie's Fashion.
Well before the 80s.
Bizarre Love Triangle from New Order.
Yeah, that'd be 80s. More early 80s.
Happy Mondays, Step On. That's from like 90, I think. Maybe 89.
Okay. All right.
I think. Yeah. Family Man from Daryl Hall and John Oates, also known as Hall & Oates.
Hall & Oates.
That was probably mid.
Yeah.
38 Special, Caught Up in You.
That might be 80s.
I think that's mid 80s, yeah.
Yeah. Surprised. Is Hold On Loosely on that one?
It is, yeah. That was right afterwards, yeah.
You're just trying to think of a less popular song to make it sound like that you weren't just a Johnny Come Lately to 38 Special, huh?
You exposed me. Oh, man. I know this is your favorite. Jesus Jones, Right Here, Right Now.
Can't stand that song.
I remember when you used to play that on a loop all the time in like
song.
98 back at the old apartment.
Cannot stand
You were like, hey, I just found this new song. And I'm like, bro, this thing's like 10 years old.
For 96 hours straight.
How about Faith No More's Midlife Crisis?
I don't know if I know that one.
This is a good song. You'd like it. I'm just trying to find anything else here on my stupid playlist.
Is it specifically an 80s playlist? Or
Nah, man, it's all over. It's all over the map. I literally took all the songs that I like from all the other playlists and I just jammed them all into one.
Oh, it's like your best of.
Yeah, yeah. How about 93 Till Infinity from the Souls of Mischief? That's a good one. Anyways. All right. That's all I got over here, man.
All right. Let's see if I can get a couple other. Cameron Bordalazzo says, what faction or team would you like to see on a Jerry Springer type show?
Judgment Day.
Jimmy Thomas says, with Briggs being compared to Stan Hansen, what is the most ridiculous comparison you can make with two wrestlers?
That's good. What a great phrasing of a question.
Yeah. Ridiculous comparison.
When people used to compare Dean Ambrose to Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Like,
or to
what?
Mick Foley, for that matter.
Or Mick Foley. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, that's. Oh, Zondo says when they tried to make Miz the new Flair. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Remember his babyface Miz with Ric Flair? Ugh.
Yeah, dude. Hey, we had a member re-up, Kyle the Ginger, for 20 months now. Thank you very much, Kyle. We appreciate that. Javier asked if I could reload and see if I can find him. I've already reloaded, Javier. Let me see if I can find yours. And sometimes I'll skip to unless you're on Javier. Can you just put in chat?
I don't see. If the name's Javier, there's not a Javier.
It's the Blind Cinephile.
Oh. No.
Nothing there?
No.
I'm check one more time, dude. I don't see it anywhere, man. I apologize.
Sorry, Javier.
Sorry, man. My obsession. Oh, that's good. Burwinning says Metaphor hosting the Springer Show.
Oh.
That'd be good.
Yeah, just pretty much be Supernova Sessions then.
The Supernova Sessions.
Well, how long Noam Dar is going to be out? It was a knee injury for him, right?
I think it was a long time. Yeah, I think it was a long time. Do you think he's going to join Lash and Jakara? Did you get the feeling that it was going to be a tag, or do you think it was going to be Lash versus Zarya straight up?
Oh, that could be. It could be.
Because it feels like Lash and Jakara, they're heading to Maine soon.
Yeah, it kind of feels like.
I hope so, because, man, that's awesome.
All right, that's all I got.
All right, that's all I got, too. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.
My obsession.